So I got CJ McClanahan, the business coach, the renowned author here. I got one more question to ask him. And I really, it's one of my favorite questions to talk about on the Zipline, because our business is about the intersection of marketing, automation, and sales, and how those transact to accelerate the pipeline. But, you know, CJ, the sales and marketing have changed so much over the last 10 years. You know, basically they used to be two separate departments, and now they're having to actually, God forbid, talk to figure out how they're going to make money together, right? And you and I've had this conversation at length. But where do you see the future of selling and marketing going? Where do you see, what kind of world are we going to live in you know, in the near future, with all these buzzwords coming in like big data and you know, automation and marketing automation? Where do you see the future of selling and marketing? Is it going to get commoditized? Are we going to not need salespeople anymore, or is it going to become that much more important?
Right. Obviously, the asterisk here, Tony, is it depends on what you're saying. Right. Selling, excuse me. Some industries are going to disappear from a commoditization standpoint. I mean, some industries, there is absolutely no need for a salesperson any longer. And that's just going to happen. Other industries, the ability of a salesperson to inspire people to buy their products is going to be more critical than ever. And again, I think it comes down to two things today and going into the future. And you've touched on them a lot with what StringCan does. One is trust, and the next is education. If someone I trust is consistently educating me and helping me become smarter, I'm much more likely to buy their product or service. A couple of years ago, Harvard Business Review came out with a whole edition of a magazine on sales, and they said what's changed mostly about sales in today, and these are again longer sales cycles, is that the salesperson, you can't just come and ask a bunch of questions and play dumb, you know, like, you know, the old sales pain thing. You got to come to the table with knowledge. You got to come to the table with some sort of insight, some sort of education, so that the buyer goes, oh my gosh, wow. You've done your homework. You've done what it is you were supposed to do. It's harder to get people to buy because they have access to so much data. If you're not a savvy salesperson and you're not getting in front of people and re-educating them all the time, you're going to have trouble.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, that is the power. We lost you to a fade on the on the screen, so I got my. Okay. We got our. Hold on, I'm going to catch you up. The last. Sorry, Skype.
Did I move my head too bad?
What's that?
Did I move my head?
No, Skype decided to close on you, so we went to a desktop. I want to pull. It was good stuff, so I want to pull it back in.
Okay.
Think about how to tee it up to get you where we lost you. Okay, I got where to tee up. Okay. So CJ, you know, one of these things that we've been talking about in the future of selling and marketing is what models are gonna exist in the future, and what models are gonna develop. You know, whose business is gonna go away, whose cheese is gonna move, and whose are gonna redevelop. You know, and I'm just gonna tell you a quick story. In Australia today, if you want to buy a house, you don't even need a realtor. There's an app you download. You know, you can actually see who else has got their house available for sale in the neighborhood that you want, and set up an appointment with the potential seller, literally instantaneously, and it's just made an entire industry virtually go away. I mean, it's not going to happen in the States because we have one of the largest PACs behind the real estate thing, but you know, what do you see moving and changing the way we buy and sell today? What's going to happen?
Right. So fundamentally, as you mentioned, Tony, there are going to be some industries that are just going to disappear because there's no need for salespeople in any way, shape, or form in certain industries. The internet has allowed us to commoditize things in a way that's never been done before. However, because now buyers have access to so much information, the savvy, sophisticated sales organizations and companies are going to do the best job of telling stories and building trust and educating buyers. And the organizations that do that the best, and it's not going to be a one-time pick up the phone and make a phone call or send an email. It's going to be over time. I now trust this organization, and I now will allow them to engage me with education. And the organizations that are able to do that in the future are going to have a better chance of selling than the ones that do it today.
Right. And I think, just to chime in and kind of piggyback on what you're saying, I think there's going to be more and more craftsman-type opportunities for organizations that are built around technologies. I mean, our business is a great example. I mean, WordPress is a completely available technology, right? You know, you could build your own WordPress site, or you could hire
not
somebody
that
like
far.
us
Let's not go that
to develop and use and build you a cost-effective yet crafted, WordPress website. And I think that's one of the differences. Like marketing automation is available to you. You could try to use it. We have 4 or 5 people upstairs that could set up a triggered email campaign in 15 minutes, but it would probably take you a day and a half to figure it out. And the next time you need to do it, it's going to take you another half a day. And so there are people that have learned how to use the tools and craft things, and it just happens to be different tools. It happens to be technology rather than a hammer or a nail to create extremes amount of value. And this boutiquing is what I see happening around technology. It's like so they're, as Seth Godin would say, they're going to both ends of the scale. I mean, they're either going extremely valuable or extremely commoditized. Would you agree with that's where we kind of see things going?
There's no doubt about it. The smart people recognize there's no middle ground anymore.
Right.
Playing in the middle is a sure way to be out of business in the next year.
Right. Yep. So cheeses are moving, and this is the time to understand which end of the spectrum you're going to go. You either automate and drive down your costs, or you go to the higher end and drive your value. And staying in the middle will be death for your business. I think you and I have seen it so many times with clients. They try to sell to everybody, and in doing so, they don't get anybody. And that's the nicheifying your business is one of those key things you've done. When you see companies that lack focus, what is the one way you try to help them find focus in their marketing and their sales effort and where they're trying to go?
It's really a spreadsheet exercise, and most companies don't understand where they make their money. And so I seem like a genius when I come in and I take them through some really simple exercises to help them recognize what is the best use of your time, what clients really value you the most, and where do you have the highest gross margin, and why in the world are we not going after more of those clients? Some people think top line is what it's all about. Top line is what it was all about in 1955. Today it turns out we're trying to make some money. We're trying to grow the value of the asset. We're trying to drive dollars to that very, very bottom line. And if you don't understand where you're making your money, you're likely to just keep doing the same thing over and over.
Yeah. All right, and it's so illuminating. Even in my own business, we just did this exercise. We have 70 clients, and we went through the list, and we realized that 10 of the clients made it up 80% of the revenue. And it's so freaking cliche, isn't it? And we're like, man, if we just got 10 more of those clients, we double in size and revenue. And yet we weren't giving our energy in that proportion. We were totally splitting it up equally. I mean, some of it was in the SLA, but you know what I'm saying. And it's like, it's as many times as you hear that, it is so hard to stay focused. It's so hard to just get back to the basics. I mean, how important is focus for a business owner today?
It is the most important thing. Gary Keller, who founded Keller Williams, wrote a book called The One Thing last year, which was easily my favorite book of the year. And he argued that the ability to prioritize and to recognize that if everything is important, nothing is important, is what is going to differentiate average from exceptional leaders going forward. Because today you can do anything. I could start 5 new businesses before lunch today because it's so easy to do so. But should I? That's the real question.
The not to do list is the new great list for business owners today, right? What are you not going to do? CJ and McClanahan, it's so awesome to have you on the show, man. It's great talking to you and spending some time with you, and always good to hear what's going on in that big noggin.
Thanks for having me, buddy. I appreciate it.